Is dating better in Africa or is it better in Central and South America? Hey, Jason here. If you've been watching the channel, now I'm on 10 years as a full-time nomad slash expat. Left the United States in 2015, and I am now on my third continent in Lusaka, Zambia, in the southern region of Africa. And so I'm not only sharing with you information about Africa, some of the pros about it, some of the things you may not be seeing if you're in the United States, and most importantly, if you're thinking about becoming an expat or already one, why you should be looking into Zambia as a possible option to come and live at or invest into. So let's go ahead and get into today's video. Now, normally I stay away from a lot of dating topics. I'm gonna be very clear. I'm not a passport bro. I don't agree with that passport bro movement. For what I see, it's not good people for the most part. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. However, a lot of my friends that's in Colombia, Panama, or in some of the island countries such as Dominican Republic, they have been asking me like, hey, is it a place is it easier to date out there? And so I thought I'll just do this as a video also, just to share with you in case you are coming here single. Now, it is going to be from the perspective of a man because I am into women. But it does apply for women also if you're going to be coming here single and looking to joining the dating pool. So the first thing I will say is there's less scams here. And what I mean by that is, and if you lived in Colombia, Panama, or the Dominican Republic, leave in the comments some of the scams that people be doing. I've seen a lot of them from friends that have been telling me, like, especially when I was in Panama and then Colombia. It was crazy in Colombia, some of the things I heard about. But one of the big scams that happened a lot through Dominican Republic and in some parts of Panama, some of the ladies would be dating the guys and then they'd be like, oh, my grandmother or my mother is sick, she's in the hospital. And they'll send you a picture of somebody that's in a hospital. Total disrespectful, in my opinion. Like there's no respect there. Like when you have those boundaries of like, how low are you willing to go to try to scam someone out of money? And you're willing to go that low, there's no saving grace for you as a person. And so that's one of the things that I saw a lot of through friends. They're like, hey man, should I send her money? I'm like, what kind of phone is she using? I'm like, if her grandmother is really that sick, like, and she doesn't have money, how is it that she have internet to be able to text you on WhatsApp? How is it she have bundles to be able to even have data? How is it also she's sitting around with an iPhone or some Samsung? And when I started talking to them like that, they'd be like, I didn't think about that. I'm like, yeah, get out of the emotions. I'm like, this isn't your family. And that's one of the things that I think that kills a lot of the dating pool in those countries and in that region is the level of scams are so horrendous. Like you get to the point to where you don't even trust people as just people. And it's like, dude, is humanity that horrible? And that's one of the things that you do not see here in Africa. People don't lie on their family like that or things of that nature. Like if a woman here needs money or want money, or let's say there are women here that use guys. And if you're coming here from the West, most likely you're going to run into those women first because of the places where you're going to probably be in your dating pool, whether it's using online dating such as Tinder. You can still find good women on Afro Introduction. I don't know if that's starting to change yet or not. Or if you're just going to a bar or a club, something like that, you're not meeting the best caliber of or the best representation of the women that are in the dating pool. I always suggest people, maybe talk to someone if you see them at work, or find someone, if you're out and about, like at a grocery store, at a restaurant, normal, just everyday places. Like if that ideal routine meeting happens, then approach them, because you can actually approach women and you can approach men here in Africa. It's not like the US where if you approach them, you're being disrespectful or they're going to speak some nonsense to you. It's nothing like that. And the few ones that do act like that, you're probably not going to be interested in them in any way. So it's like, there's no point in even putting energy into it if you do come across that. But for the most part, you're not going to come across that here in Africa. And also, like, there's cultural traditions here. So there are things, and people from the U.S. not going to understand this as much, like, because we don't have that tribal cultures and all of those different things. Those traditions are not instilled in us like how it is here, from what I see. And so you're going to see cultural respects. Like, there's just more respect here when it comes to someone approaching someone, speaking to someone, all of those things of that nature. Now, I say it's a lot simpler here to meet someone who has a good background, who has good intentions, compared to, and I'm just going to compare this to the regions that I was in, that whole Spanish speaking region between Central, South America, and that includes the islands of like Dominican Republic, the island of Dominican Republic, because that's where a lot of guys go to when they're deciding to leave the United States. And I think they should be bringing that money here. Also, because there's no, the nationalism is not as strong here. There's tribalism here, which is completely different. And I kind of like it better, to be honest with you. The tribalism is a lot better to me. It is confusing because there's tons of different tribes, and like here, like Tambucas and Bimbas, they're like tribal cousins, and a couple of other ones are different tribal cousins. So like, the relationships are just different. It's hard to explain, man. I wish I could like really break it down real good, but like, even if a local is breaking it down to you, like it's confusing. It's overwhelming because it's a lot. And so like, when you're dating in Africa, you just got to make sure you're recognizing or not putting yourself into tribal commitments, doing things that are customary for their tribes, that will put you into possible marriages, things of that nature. That is probably the only place where you will need to do your due diligence and be very, very cautious here. And I don't think it's because women are trying to take advantage of you. It's more or less they're thinking from their understanding of this is my culture, this is my tradition. This person is living here now, so they must obviously know about the culture and traditions. Not understanding outside of this continent, we don't see none of this stuff. And so one of the main things is, do not have a woman living with you. Do not go meet her family right away. If you know you have no intentions of marrying someone, do not meet their family. Being very serious about that. Some tribal customs here supersede judicial laws. So you need to understand that really big. Also, don't put yourself as the provider for a person. Because then that could also be a form of commitment to marriage. Also, like, be cautious of these things. You want to leave your home country and move to your new country that you're choosing, to be able to grow and expand yourself and to create different forms of freedom, whether it's financial freedom, social freedom, or just complete freedom of, I'm not stressed anymore. And you can do all of that here in Africa without having problems. And you can still have a very active social life. You can still be dating, but just be very clear and let it know up front. This is my intentions. This is what I want. This is what I'm not accepting. And this is what I don't want. And give the woman the chance to accept it or not. And then once you're at that point, you're good to go. Like, you don't have to worry about people drugging you. Like, yo, like all the stuff that's going on in Colombia now, and I love Colombia. However, it's getting out of hand with the drugging. I'm trying to be cautious of the words I'm using. So that's why I'm not speaking as freely as I normally do. But like with the drugging of scopolamine, the people being robbed all the time, being set up by women, you don't really see that here, and you shouldn't be around anyone that's in that type of lifestyle. What I mean is, like, you shouldn't, like, in my one video where the people was asking about how to avoid the dangerous neighborhoods. You're not going to meet people in those neighborhoods. You're not going to meet people at such a dire class level, even though it's not really classism here. You're not going to find people in those very, very low classes. because you're not going to ever go to those areas, which is a good thing. And the reason why I say it's a good thing is because it lets you be able to date without being stressed out. Main thing is just make sure you, like I say, do not be going meeting people's family, because you don't know if that can be setting yourself up for some type of cultural marriage. And just mind your business, man. Just mind your business. Don't get too involved into a person's life. Don't become someone's surrogate dad, you taking care of them. A lot of women here in Africa are very self-sufficient. They're very independent. I feel African women are very modern. They have goals. They have ambition. Like you can find a very good woman here and invest in her. Like for me, I like women that are entrepreneurial. That's just my preference. But you have women in the corporate structure. You have women in the government structure. You have women all over. And so don't be afraid if you're coming here, you're going to have to be single, or it's going to be difficult to date. The other thing, and I'm going to leave it at this, is the main reason it's simpler here. They speak English. I used to get tired of guys calling me or texting me, "Hey, Jason, can you translate what this person's saying to me in Spanish? Can you let her know this?" It's like, dude, I don't want to talk to your girlfriend. Figure out the language on your own. And so coming here, you don't have to figure out the language. They speak English. Like the person that I'm talking to, she speaks her native language in Nyanja, which is the widely spoken language here in the Lusaka area. However, guess what? I don't know those languages. I'm not even interested in learning right now. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm interested in building generational wealth. Because yes, I picked up Spanish while I was in Colombia, but guess what? Me learning Spanish didn't help me do anything productive towards creating generational wealth. I was just learning that on the side. Yes, it was nice to be able to speak to the people, everything like that. But like for the most part, unless I'm going to a very remote village somewhere like that, which I'm not really going, unless I'm really just going to look for farmland, I don't need to know the language. And you don't need to know the language either starting off. If you want to learn it, by all means, take your time and learn it. The people here will be very helpful and willing to help you learn it. But you don't have to focus on like, I got to learn this language to speak to them. English is very wide spoken here. English is very, very well here. I feel their English is way better than the United States English and way better than the UK English. And the people who actually go higher up to make sure their English is really good, they pride themselves in speaking correctly. Like I have a lot of respect for the people who are like, if they say a word or something, like, oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, relax. It's okay. It's like, no, I need to speak this correctly. And so like, I respect that. I have a lot of respect for that. Also, with the English from a cultural point of view of like music, TV shows, movies, they watch the stuff we watch. So you can actually hold a conversation. You know how many men right now are sitting in Colombia, Panama, and Dominican Republic? They need to get on their cell phone on Google Translate just to, hey, how are you doing today? Or, hey, how do you want to go eat? Like, do you know how silly that looks? And when I became about 70% fluent in Spanish, and I used to just watch guys, and I'm like, how in the hell are you even, what kind of relationship is this outside of physical companionship? Like, I don't know about you as a guy, but for me, I need mental stimulation. I need to be able to hold a conversation. The physical can only last you for so long. Like, how can you express your goals, your dreams, and ambitions through writing in Google Translate? You writing on the phone, and I'll show you exactly how they do it. They'll be doing this. You'll see people on a date. They're literally at a date at a nice restaurant, typing. Then she'll say something in Spanish. Oh, no entiendo. I don't understand. Here. And then she'll either speak it in there or typing it in there then. And then he go, oh, what kind of relationship is that? Like that, it's so crazy to me. And then people be like, oh, but I love her or I love him. You can't even speak to each other. You can't even hold a conversation. If you even go get married, You don't even know if they're saying I do, what the vowels are telling you, which is funny because most people don't know this. Cece and I got married again in Colombia. We went to the courthouse in Colombia and we had got married for a second time. And they spoke the vowels in Spanish and in English. And they were shocked when I could understand what they were saying in Spanish and I was translating it to her. It was like, not many Americans be understanding. So that's why we do it in English also. But like, you can't hold a real conversation or have a real relationship if you can't effectively communicate with each other. And this is one of those things, like, really think about this. So many people always are talking about the reason their relationship failed is because of, oh, my partner didn't understand me. Like they couldn't help me in the areas I needed help. But how can someone understand you if you don't even speak the same language? So like, I think a lot of these guys, especially if you're one of those who's looking for a wife, looking for starting a family, things of that, start looking into Africa. Start coming to this southern region. People speak English, guys. It ain't the crap they're showing us on TV. Also, people are not, the women here are not, and I hate using this word, but like the images that the United States and the Western countries show is as if the women are desperate and poor. They're not. Like, stop this nonsense. Here, just like even in the United States, the most educated demographic here is Black women. Like here in Zambia, you're going to always run across a nurse. And I'm talking about a registered nurse, someone who has actual experience in the theater, doing assisting in surgeries and things like that. You're going to find women engineers. I even met a woman truck driver the other day, about 2 weeks ago, I think. I was shocked. And we had a great conversation. You're going to meet women in all different fields. You're going to meet women that are fashion designers. You're going to meet women that are lecturers. You're going to meet women that are school teachers. Like, there's a whole field. You're going to meet lawyers, everything. So like, you can come here and actually meet very great women and you can talk to them. You can speak English with them. And I know you may be looking at me like, Jason, why do you keep harboring over this English? Go to Panama, which is very safe, and just watch some of these old men with these girls. And you're going to be like, I thought he was joking. Go to Colombia. You go to Colombia, you're going to see people all on their cell phones all day long. That's why people get their phone stolen so much. You can't even hold a conversation with someone without needing your phone up. And a moto can just come by and take it from you. Like, to be able to effectively communicate is the way to have a relationship. You can have as much physical attraction as you want, and she can be as much attracted to your money as she want. But there's going to come a time where both parties are tired or bored. I'm telling you, like, I've seen it so many times. And then as soon as these guys can find someone who can just speak a little bit of English, just piece a little bit of sentence together, they try to wipe them down because they're like, man, at least I can talk to her somewhat. We can work with this. And so if you're single and you're looking to start moving abroad, start looking at this southern region of Africa. You can look into Zambia, Botswana, South Africa, Namibia, Zimbabwe. Oh, these people speak English, guys. All of them speak English. So I'm telling you firsthand. And if you're an expat and you've been traveling around the world and you know what I'm talking about, especially I know some of those guys in Southeast Asia, share some stories in the comments. Don't put people's names, just share a few of the stories in the comments, because I'm being really lighthearted here. So I'm not saying as much as I really know and what I've seen, because I don't want the video to get flagged and I don't want to say the wrong thing. But you will start seeing some of the craziest relationships or situationships, I guess is the appropriate way to call them, when you start traveling the world. And when you start seeing how people cannot communicate and they have to use Google Translate, or they're buying these expensive translators. Oh, here, talk to me. And then they got the earpiece on and they doing this so they can hear good, but got to pull their hearing aid out. It's crazy out here, guys. Just remember, success is simple once you know how. And if you want to be really successful at dating, if you're a naturally English speaker, go to countries where they speak English and meet women there. So I'm going to just leave it there. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.